Hello and welcome to the show. For this week's FailRace versus the community, we were going racing with B-class cars that didn't have a front engine. Our first race was at the Brands Hatch GP circuit. Two Alpines found ourselves on pole. My GTA Le Mans on the inside as we head around turn 2. My car had plenty of grip through the turns, although the A110, that was a little bit faster accelerating. Those things are incredibly light indeed. And in the end, while I could keep my car alongside through the corners, even having to try go the long way around, at some points, when we got to any acceleration zones, I was struggling a bit. And certainly doesn't help when you give the smallest of taps to the vehicle ahead. Didn't upset the white Alpine. I got a very big slide through all of that. Gathered it back up, but lost a bit of ground. And yeah, when it came to the straights in general, my car was struggling a little bit. There was plenty of busyness going on, as you would expect, in this opening lap. A Lamborghini Jalpa, Clio V6, Porsche 911, all close together at this stage. Now, the expectation was, certainly for the Clios, to be a bit of an awkward car to get working. They have been in the past in Forza games. However, it turns out they were not bad choices at all with this. As we head up towards the final corner, Lamborghini looks to try and go around the outside. Isn't quite the space to do that. Cuts back for the exit of the corner as Navora puts a wheel on the grass, ending up being carted out wide. The Jalpa will be to the inside on the run towards the first corner. Porsche runs out a bit of straight line speed by the end of that start-finish straight, but could hold a lot of speed through the turns, even if he's out across the curb. The Clio gets a mega run on the exit of turn 1, but can't quite fire the car back up the inside as they head around that second corner. There was, certainly plenty going on at this stage. The Alpa almost gets into trouble across the curb, manages to bring the car back together. It wouldn't be long before the Porsche would start marching his way up through the order. A car I've never had much luck of building fast ones with. In fact, one of the worst cars I've ever built in Forza was one of these 911s. However, this particular car was, certainly going well, carrying a lot of speed through the turns. The Clio would look to get back past that Jalpa. The Porsche is a fair way back, actually, from the Lamborghini. However, the Countach is just completely unable to carry the same speeds of the Porsche, and sure enough, on the exit of turn 1, the Porsche will get alongside. It's a fairly long way around the outside. Lamborghini gets a little bit sort of stuck on a tight line, can't really maintain the momentum through that third corner, and the Porsche would be up a position. Towards the front, I had made a mistake in the Alpine. Wheel on the grass at the final turn dropped me down the order. The A110 continued to lead, but was being caught and being put under increasing pressure from a Lamborghini Miura. Now, I know how fast these Miuras can be. They are very good cars indeed. A great combination of straight line speed and handling. And while the Miura doesn't quite have the acceleration, the ultimate top speed of that A110, it can carry considerably more corner speed. It's an easier car to drive quickly as well. Thinks about having a look up the inside into turn 2. The Alpine a little bit too far away this time around, although on the exit of the corner, the Lamborghini has got the traction. It's going to have to be a long way round, but we've been seeing cars getting the outside line working there so far in this race, and while again, the Miura can hold it, it's not quite got the acceleration to beat the Alpine to the next corner. Again, that Lamborghini is going to have to be brave. It's another long corner to be going around the outside. And the Miura does get ahead, gets almost his entire car ahead of the Alpine. But it is only briefly, as now we come down the straight where the Renault is going to be strong. By the time they get on the brakes, the Alpine can get across to cover. It's a third corner for the Miura to have to try and go around the outside. This time, though, it is fully past. The Lamborghini can get ahead, and the Alpine just hasn't quite got an answer for that Lamborghini's corner pace. We did also have a Clio getting very sideways on the grass. Unfortunately, the Alpine would stick a wheel on the grass and spin, dropping further back, which means the Porsche versus Clio would become the battle for second place. Two cars that I personally wouldn't have chosen to build up for this, as they can be quite awkward things to work, were both going very fast. I mean, the Miura did have a little bit of a margin. It wasn't the largest of gaps, though. It wasn't the largest of gaps at all for the Lamborghini. The Clio never quite close enough to really fully try an overtake on the Porsche. They were... It was one of those, I'd say, frustrating ones where you are you're right on the bumper of the car ahead, but they're just fast enough that there's very little that you can do. You're so evenly matched and so on that without a mistake, trying to find a way past is, rather difficult to do, and that is how it would end for those guys. And the Miura would go on to claim a victory in race number 1. Again, not the largest margin of victory, certainly, as you can see the Porsche and Clio further back, but a good victory nevertheless for the Lamborghini. In the end, I think I would finish up about 6th place with my Renault. I'm not the greatest at Brands Hatch, and yeah, the car just didn't quite work around here. For the podium, it would be EVR Liam T taking victory with that Lamborghini and Pega in 2nd. It was Please Don't Eat Me with the Clio in 3rd, however he lagged out on the cooldown lap, so doesn't show up in the podium, sadly. Race number 2, and we would head to the Homestead Miami circuit. Now, there was a chance of rain for this. It was a 40% chance of rain. However, yeah, there was a ever-present danger of some rain during this race. Once more, I was given a kind grid spot by the gods of Forza. Had no answer to a Ferrari 288 that was able to pull a huge gap already, having just gone around the first few corners, but my Alpine would be up into 2nd place. Behind me, a Lamborghini Yalpa and Clio V6 were fighting side by side, and plenty of other action further back. The Clio having to try and go the long way round, and again, it's not quite going to be able to make that one stick. Next fast corner is a tough place to fit 2 cars wide. The Clio a little bit too far back. Does get a very, very good run, and I mean, cars like this, you're going to be just about flat out around that corner, so yeah, important to get it right for the next big braking zone into the hairpin. Still, the Alpha continues to defend, although in doing so ends up out a little bit wide on the exit. The Clio can get his nose alongside, and then it's kind of the drag race onto the back straight. My Renault was a little bit across the grass on the exit of the hairpin, wasn't helping my cause. The Clio would have the speed to clear the Yalpa as we head through the very, very fast left-hander. Easy indeed to get caught out through that section. Another Porsche in this race was doing a good job making his way up through the order up against a Lancia. The Porsche very, very fast down the straights here. A bit more of a handful through the corners. The 037 had a look at trying to get up the inside, a little bit too far back for any of that to work. The Porsche coming up against the Ariel Nomad can be very fast in B-Class, as it turns out. This one, though, struggling a little bit against the other Porsche. Porsche's got the speed to get up the inside. Nomad tries to go around the outside. He might try to get it sort of cut back for the exit of the corner, but in the end, the Porsche just that little bit too quick. As we head on to the back straight, the Lamborghini's in a little bit of trouble. That's straight line speed of the Porsche will just come soaring past before they even get to the braking zone. Now, the Lamborghini thinks about trying to go around the outside, but it's a tough place to do that, and the Nomad proves it with a little bit of exploration further back. As you can imagine, with these races, Homestead actually proving to be a good circuit for sort of varsity community racing. Plenty of action goes on around here. This left-hander is a scary one to get right as the Testarossa finds out a couple of wheels on the grass, I think, through there. But yeah, it's a circuit for plenty of on-track action. This is certainly one to go to. The 037 gets it wrong through the final chicane. It's a bit too wide on the exit. It's a really difficult final chicane to get right here. If you end up a little bit wrong hitting the banking, it just drags your car up towards the wall. And yeah, sure enough, the Lancia is heading that way. The Testarossa could get the pass completed. I was holding on to 2nd place, but coming under increasing pressure from another Alpine, trying to defend my way through the first 3 corners. The leader was long gone. In fact, the leader spun on a curb around here. I think it was actually at this lap. See, the Ferrari, we suddenly closed up. We spun on a curb, had time to recover it and keep going. No real threat from us, as was the lead of that Ferrari. The Alpine, the A110, having to try look around the outside, actually hit the curb on the inside, get a big 2-wheel moment for the GTA. Didn't really want to be doing that. The A110 can force his way up the inside again. Another 2-wheel moment from the little car. Just kills his momentum slightly as we head down towards the hairpin. Now, I thought I was well enough clear of that car. Turns out, not quite so much. So I realise he has got very good brakes, dives up the inside. I wasn't having much luck with this hairpin. I just never quite got the braking point right in this car. I get a decent run out of the hairpin, but again, I just don't quite have the acceleration of the A110s. Even with a better run, I can't quite do too much about it as we head through the fast left-hander, though. The A110 runs a little bit too wide. Wheels on the grass. I can slide the GTA up the inside, although as we head into the final chicane, I just don't have the speed quite to fight with that car, and in the end, it's sort of a better idea to let it go. I just couldn't fight with it through all of that. This little group of cars further back, I think this was sort of around 12th place, these lot were fighting over. Remained close throughout a large portion of the race. Ferrari Testarossa leading the group at this moment in time as the cars bobbled their way across that gap. A lot of vehicles going up on two wheels around this particular circuit. I think the Miura slightly caught out by the Ferrari's braking point, ends up having to take a little bit of voiding action out wide, and that's going to cost him one position to the Lancia. In groups like these, it's very easy. A little mistake can be very, very costly indeed. You end up a little bit out of position. Everyone just sort of steam trains their way past. Now the Miura's got to worry about that Porsche sniffing around, and it is the Porsche that's going to try and do the brave manoeuvre around the outside. Lamborghini too busy trying to fight away past the Lancia. Ends up carrying a bit too little speed into that fast left-hander. Can't quite get it alongside as they head into the final chicane. A little bit of a bump between the pair of the cars. The Miura, I think, closing the door ever so slightly on the Porsche. They both get away with it and carry on, having lost a little bit of time in all that. I now fall into third, had another Renault to try and deal with, this time the Clio V6, looking for a way past the GTA Le Mans. Again, another circuit. My car was good, it just wasn't, I don't know, it wasn't as fast as I think some of the cars around it. Certainly I was struggling a little bit against this competition. The Clio not quite as brutally fast in terms of straight line speed, but more similarly matched to my car when it came to the corners, and I was having to go very, very defensive against this vehicle. He gets a better run once more on that exit. I'm having to give the car some space through there as we head down towards the hairpin that I had been struggling with. Again, a little bit too slow to close the door. I realise it's going to be the nose alongside. I think better of it. Want to try and get the cutback on the exit, but the Clio does a very good job covering that inside. In the end, I had to kind of change my plan and sort of got a little bit stuck going the wrong way, and that put me up against a very fast Porsche. Now, the problem is, the replay, as you see there, cuts off. Now, there were another 3 laps to go. The rain did come, and we had a very close finish for this, what was the battle for third place between the Clio, the Porsche, and my GTA as we head into the final corners. The Porsche and Clio fighting side by side into this last chicane. The Clio gets stuck out wide, is a little bit wonky across the curb, doesn't get a good run up the banking. I have the acceleration, and while the Porsche would get the pair of us, I would in the end have to settle for fourth. Now, it is a shame that, well, Forza replays are being, well, Forza replays. It was a little bit longer race than perhaps some that we've done in versus the community, but still, you know, we would hope that it would be able to work. It's only a 16, 17-minute race in all of that. At the front, the victor, well, that would be the Ferrari, the 288 GTO. No one really had an answer to the speed of that car. The Alpine would come in second. I mean, it's a good showing for Renault. I will be honest, it is a good showing from Renault in all of this. When the rain came, that didn't really hinder the Ferrari whatsoever. An enjoyable race, I have to say. I mentioned this a few times when we were around Homestead. I think this is a good circuit. I'm very glad that, well, now everybody has the circuit to use. It's proved to be plenty eventful when it comes to on-track racing. For the podium, F1 Kieran would take victory with that Ferrari. Time to Die Zombie 2 with the Alpine in second, the Wheelman in third with the Porsche. Our final race, and we would head to the Nürburgring GP circuit. Once more, I found myself towards the front of the grid, this time starting in fourth place as we run towards the first corner. It is a little Fiat X19, Porsche and Ferrari going 3 wide through at that section. I had a little bit of a slower start than these 3. Again, my Renault not so good down the straight bits, not so good on the acceleration front. However, as these 3 fight their way through the opening corners, that helps me out. The Porsche's a little bit wide, the Fiat's a little bit sideways. The Ferrari's run out of kind of road. There's just nowhere to put the Ferrari at that point. and then I'm immediately back up to this group as we head down the first of these straights. The Porsche will lead the way, but the Fiat has got some grip and tries to make it stick around the outside of the first part. It'll put you on the inside for the second. The Fiat left a lovely little gap for the Ferrari to follow past with. I was keen to try and follow that one if I could. Behind me, there was a mighty winged NSX and various other vehicles making their way through these opening corners. Down towards the hairpin we go. The Porsche not close enough to have a look at the Fiat, even with the X19 leaving a little bit of a gap on the inside. It was, yeah, plenty close for us at the front, and certainly the mid-pack in these opening races, actually throughout it, would be pretty damn busy as well. The NSX leading this group at the moment. Various other interesting vehicles, of course. The A110s were proving fast. The Myers-Manx was also proving surprisingly fast. This particular one didn't have the straight line speed of some of these cars, but it is so incredibly light that acceleration from that thing is absolutely bonkers. The Ferrari Dino also very fast around here, but of course these guys started further down the pack. You get stuck in a lot of traffic trying to work your way forwards. The Dino, I think, had one of the fastest laps around this circuit, but trying to get through all of this traffic early on is not particularly easy. Goes around the outside of the Alpine. The poor GTA here gets stuck on the outside of one corner, and again, much as I said with the race at Homestead, you get stuck out of position in big groups like this. It can really cost you, with the Nomad also finding his way up the inside, almost falling back in the clutches of another Miura and NSX. Out at the front, and the Ferrari had got clear of all of us. The Porsche was up to second as the X19 started to fall down and started to struggle a little bit with the pace of some of these cars. Now at Nürburgring, my Renault much happier around this circuit. Oddly, it was much faster around here in terms of the competition. These longer corners, slightly slower corners perhaps in places, suiting the amount of grip I had in the GTA Le Mans. And sure enough, the Fiat just couldn't quite get turned in. I get the nose alongside. Now, I know I'm going to have to go the long way around this next corner. However, that can sometimes be quite helpful. If you get stuck too much on the inside there, as the Fiat did, you get a very slow line over the corner. You just can't get the speed down this next straight. I use that to my advantage and can get the Alpine past, and then focus on trying to chase down the leaders in this one. It was certainly a kind of longish trade of cars that we had going on at the front, and yeah, further back it was incredibly hectic in these opening stages. Alpine against the NSX. As I said, trying to get through all of this traffic was proving difficult for some of these cars. The Alpine with some speed, trying to look for a way past the Dino, can't quite do it into the hairpin. The NSX is coming back, trying to go around the outside. The Myers-Manx has got immense quarter speed through that. I think the Myers-Manx might be one of the few cars on race tyres here. Will hurt it in terms of power, but yeah, mighty fast through some of these corners. The Dino ends up out wide at the top of the hill. The NSX puts a wheel on the gravel and goes for a spin. In the end, the Alpine comes out the best of this particular lot, but these guys are changing positions 3 or 4 times per lap. It's difficult to make progress up towards the front groups when you are overtaking and fighting so much, but yeah, makes for an exciting time. It wouldn't be long before they would catch up to the now slightly struggling Fiat. The Porsche was up into 4th place. The white Porsche, yellow Porsche was up into 4th place. The A110, having a look at the inside of the X19 into the very tight chicane. There's a Clio V6 involved in all of this. Ferrari Dino is trying to buy into it. The Clio puts a wheel, again, just dumping one wheel onto the grass was causing some big issues for cars around here. The Alpine had got to the front of this little group before conking the tyre bundle on the entrance to a pit lane. It is surprisingly easy to do that around this particular circuit. That would lose him 2 positions, almost a third, as the aerial Nomad is coming to join in. The Clio's recovered from his little rallycross experience as we all run down in towards turn 1. The Fiat got the straight line speed, got the measure of the Ferrari for top end, but doesn't have the speed through the turns. The Dino able to go around the outside of that first hairpin, which isn't the easiest corner to make moves stick. You'll be on the inside for turn 2, and you'll also be on the inside for turn 3 if you've still not quite got the move done. The Clio V6 fighting with the aerial Nomad. The A110 managed to catch straight back up to this group, and the Dino would finally be passed and able, or not have many laps, but able to have some clear air to chase down the cars ahead. For me, having got to 3rd, I would then get stuck behind the Porsche. As I said, the Renault was working well around this circuit. All of its lap speed was through the corners. The problem was Porsche was very fast accelerating, and I couldn't do anything about getting past. I would catch massively to the back of the Porsche. I'd be right on his bumper as we would leave a corner, and then the acceleration of the 911 would pull it away. Honestly, if I could have got past the Porsche, I don't think I had any answer for the Ferrari regardless, but yeah, it was a good fun battle, this one. It was very much a case of I was hoping the Porsche would make a mistake. All it would take was the tiniest of mistakes from the Porsche, and I would probably be able to pounce, as was the grip in the GTA around here, but could never quite be close enough to force an overtake myself. Again, we can come through the S's. I could carry a lot more speed. I could be more aggressive with my car. I'd be right there on the bumper as we crested the hill, but then we'd have an acceleration zone, and then by the time we got to the brakes, I just wasn't going to be close enough to have a dive. Again, close up all the way through here, almost alongside. I try and have a look, but there's nothing that I can do. And again, I'll carry more speed through the turn, and then the Porsche will get on the power, and then it'll vanish away. Yeah, it was a tense race. It was a very tense race for second and third, but in the end, I just kind of run out of laps to really do very much. At the front, it would be that mighty 288 GTO that would go on to claim victory. Perhaps not quite as fast in comparison to the rest of the pack as it had been at Homestead, but still, yeah, mighty quick around this Nürburgring circuit. As I said, I doubt, even if I could have cleared the Porsche, there was much I could do about it. There were a couple of cars further back. The Ferrari Dino was going very quick. I think the Myers-Manx actually had a very fast lap as well, but got marred down in traffic, as is the way that it goes sometimes when it comes to racing. Yeah, the 288 GTO, very good B-class, non-front engined vehicle. The closest to finishes, well, that would go further back. The X19 had been involved in battles throughout the entirety of this race. The A110 having to, well, A110 made overtakes, dropped back, having to really work for positions, has a big dive into the chicane. Does get the pass done, but in doing so is all sorts of wonky on the way out. That gives the Fiat an opportunity. The Fiat has a big lunge into the final hairpin, gets alongside. It's now just the drag race towards the line. The Fiat is no slouch in terms of straight line speed, but can't quite fend off that A110. The Alpine would get the position. The Clio was relatively close to these guys as well in all of that. Definitely an exciting midfield battle. For the podium, it would be F1 Kieran once again on the top step. Wheelman taking second place with that 911. I did everything I could, but third was the best that I could manage with the Alpine GTA. Yeah, Renault came good at the final race. It was much more competitive, much happier with that Nürburgring circuit. Other two tracks, Brands and Homestead, it just didn't quite work as well as I would have liked. I do like the car, though. I do like the car very much. As a B-class vehicle, it was good to drive. I just couldn't quite extract the performance out of it so well. That, though, is going to be it for this video. The next Versus the Community is going to be on Thursday, the 11th of January. If you want to take part in that, you can sign up via our forums. There'll be a link in the description. We are going to be doing some cycled production racing. So racing completely stock and equal cars. The vehicles are going to be the Eagle Talon, the Dodge SRT4, and the BMW M6. Should be interesting. You know, single-make races are always good fun. You always get some very close action with those sort of vehicles. That was going to be it from me for today. Thank you very much for watching, and until next time, goodbye.